a lot of guys, they see someone like Andrew Tate and they like what he's saying. He's the guy that tells somebody who's been jerking off to fucking anime, sitting there playing video games 12 hours a day. Actually, you are a loser, but it's also women's fault. It's women, it's society. And I think that, yes, you do have some degree of positive action. Again, about working out, being healthy, trying to take things into your own hands, etc. But also, I think that people are looking for somebody to blame. It's such an alluring idea that you can find somebody else whose fault it is for everything that you've done wrong. I don't think anyone takes them seriously besides you Twitch streamers. Really? You don't think other people don't take him seriously? Then why do people give him a bunch of money? I want to talk about this. Pretty much a lot of people have asked me about this quite a whole lot. About Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate has been banned from Facebook, and I'm pretty sure Instagram is owned by Facebook, so he got banned from Instagram too. I know it uses their photo hosting at least. And so anyway, Andrew Tate, yes it is. All right. So he got banned for that, and this has brought up a big conversation about deplatforming. Is it okay for somebody to be effectively removed from the internet, considering that the internet is owned? Let's be honest, right? I mean, like, there is a handful of companies on the internet that own pretty much the entire market share of the places that people go, right? Like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, a handful of other ones, and that's about it. And so I want to talk about this and give kind of my opinion on it, because I think I'm probably going to get people that are mad at me that like Andrew Tate, and people that are mad at me who don't like Andrew Tate. And I think that usually that means that I'm probably in the right spot. And so anyway, the way that I look at deplatforming and if that's a good decision or not is if the person is using the platform to break the law. And I think that's probably the best way to look at it. In terms of actually removing them from the platform entirely, I believe in personal censorship. What that means is, like, let's say on Twitter, you don't want to read anything about spoilers from the new Amazon Lord of the Rings show or something like that, right? You can just, like, make it to where you filter out everything about Rings of Power. Or you don't want to hear anything about Better Call Saul, you can filter that out entirely. Or you don't want to hear anything about Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Any of this stuff, I think you should be able to completely filter it out, and you shouldn't have any restrictions for that. I think people should have the people should have the ability to say yes and also to say no to seeing certain things that they don't want to see. I don't think that people have the right to force themselves and force other people to see their stuff. Do you see kind of what I'm saying? And that's about, however, where it ends. And I think that the main exception for having somebody deplatformed is if they are using the platform to break the law actively. Like, for example, if somebody is, like, let's say, using Twitter to, like, hook up with underage girls, or somebody is using Twitter to, like, lure people into, some sort of, like, weird cult or something like that. I feel like in those cases, it's very much a good decision to have this person removed from the platform because they are actively using it to break the law. I think that makes sense, right? But I don't think that this should be done just because a person has unpopular opinions. And the reason why I think that is because what's unpopular changes. It changes all the time. And also, I think that it gives companies too much power. And I do think that, like, while the internet is to a degree a free space, like, you can go on an internet website and do what you want to do on that website, I do think that as the main big, like, social media websites have just solidified their control over social media and just in general public discourse, I do think that there should be some regulation. They should not just be able to automatically remove somebody from the platform because they don't like them. And I think that this could cause a lot of problems, and I think also it's a matter of accountability. Do you want a company that has private interests removing people from a platform that might have political ideologies that could like basically like make that company less money or something like that. No, I don't think that you I don't think that you would. So I think that deplatforming should be limited to people who break the law. And that's what I'm saying. Freedom of speech must be protected. And I do think that once something gets... I know that people get very afraid and they get very worried about, oh, well, this is regulation and, you know, this is America, like things shouldn't be regulated. The fact is, like, everything that you do is regulated, right? I mean, the internet is already regulated very heavily. ISPs are regulated. The radios are regulated. Television is regulated. Cars are regulated. Everything is regulated because it's in the best interest of the people. Because a company's best interest is not to make people happy, it's to make money. And so you need an advocate for yourself, and I think that in a lot of ways that's how government regulations should be. Are all regulations good? Absolutely not. A lot of regulations fucking suck. DMCA is one of them, in my opinion. It should be updated. But anyway, I do think that in general, there needs to be a certain degree of regulation and accountability whenever a person just gets removed from the platform without any sort of, without breaking the law. And I think that this is what makes the Andrew Tate thing very interesting. Because Andrew Tate breaking the law is very much a gray area. Andrew Tate has been convicted for, not convicted, excuse me, accused and charged for human trafficking. But he never got actually convicted. He never served a prison sentence for this. And a lot of these things that have been said that he's done have not been unequivocally proven beyond the shadow of a doubt. I think that that's something that people can generally agree on. Do you see kind of what I'm saying? Because he moved countries. Yes, he did move countries. But I don't think that, again, that does not determine 100% whether he was innocent or guilty. And people who agree with Tate takes would still do this even if he's deplatformed. You don't seem to realize this gives him power for his followers. I think that it's bad to be banned from Instagram and Facebook. I think that's a very big negative, and it definitely hurts somebody's voice. Yeah, absolutely. Probably not real, even though he said women are his property. Yeah, and I think that, like, again, having really stupid opinions, should having really stupid opinions be something that you get deplatformed for? In my opinion, I think that it should go off of the law. If the person is breaking the law, or they are saying you should hit your girlfriend if she disobeys you, or you should take her money away from her, which he arguably did say, and that's why I'm saying this is a very gray area, then I think that sure, absolutely, because this person is advocating violence. I think that most reasonable people online agree that advocating violence is this is a line you do not cross. And I think the problem with Andrew Tate is that there are a lot of things that he said, videos that have been posted, where he's either being violent or he's advocating for violence. And I think that you can always play off the idea that, oh, well, he's only doing this ironically. This is, it's for humor or something like this. There's no punchline except for whenever he punches somebody else. There's no punchline here. It's not being presented as humor. It's being presented as something. It's like, for example, you know, if the president goes up and he says, "Oh, we're gonna bomb. Let me think of a country. We're gonna bomb France. We're gonna bomb France tomorrow," and then everybody gets really mad about this, and he's like, "Bro, I was just joking. I was just kidding. Like, I wasn't really gonna do that. Like, chill out. I was just joking." And so, no, I don't think that this is, I don't think that's an excuse. And I think that a reasonable person would come to the conclusion that what he was saying these things authentically. Would you guys agree with that? Like, listening to Andrew Tate talk about these different topics, especially with, like, you know, women and things like this, that these were things that he was saying authentically. It was not being said facetiously or for effect. I think this is something that he genuinely believed. Right, yes, I never felt like it was a joke. Yeah, I never did. And also, he didn't ever come out and say right after that, "No, I clearly don't mean this. I'm just joking." Like, maybe he said it once, but it's like, you did it 50 times, you said it one time, you know, like, that's, come on, man. And so, yeah, 95% is genuine. He does troll sometimes, I think. I agree with that, too. I definitely agree. Social networking companies need to decide if they're a platform or a publisher. I don't think it really matters if they decide. I think that, you know, in the same way that the railroads were regulated, ISPs are regulated, television is regulated, these things should happen to the extent that these companies become a harmful force in society. As I said, I think that the line for getting banned on all platforms should be breaking the law with those platforms. I think that is a very clear and obvious and easy to understand line that pretty much everybody can agree on. Does this seem agreeable to you guys? Like, I don't know. I think this is a very agreeable perspective to have. Breaking the law with clear intent. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, there are some cases like, oh, we're breaking the law. They posted a picture of smoking weed. Like, who cares, right? But I mean actual things that are, like, real crimes. Yeah. Or the platform policy. See, like, I don't really care what the platform policy is. I don't think that really matters. I don't think that like, maybe I'm not expressing this in the right way. Oh, sorry, I turned this off. I haven't been touching my monitor. I haven't been expressing this in the right way. I don't really care about the rights of a public company if the public company's actions are at the detriment of the public. So if like, I don't care about, like, oh, well, they should be able to do this. Yeah, but if you do this and you fuck everybody else over, well, get the fuck out of here. Like, you shouldn't be able to do that. So I think that public companies exist to primarily serve the public. And so if that's not happening or there's some disconnect there, I think that you need a regulating authority to come in and make sure that doesn't happen. Congress should supersede platform rules. Absolutely. In the same way that there are many examples with businesses that have to do the exact same thing. Showing instructions on how to modify a microwave transformer, create fractal art isn't illegal, but it's deadly if people don't understand the risks, especially if they're dumb. Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, it's again, I feel like that's kind of a common sense perspective to have. Not every single thing, like, I'd have to think about, like, every single circumstance, and I can't think of every single circumstance in general, because that's why, like, things like this are never just, you write down one sentence. This isn't the 10 Commandments, right? Like, this is very involved, and things are circumstantial. So I can't make a specific idea for that, but I think that in general, that's where I draw the line. Government does not want to regulate, so they force social medias, and then they blame them for doing it badly. Well, I don't care about that. I just care about this is my viewpoint on it. And so, yeah, I chat with Greek a while ago. Shows the danger he has to society. So many people look up to him and echo his horrifyingly, objectively horrifying opinions. Yeah, but here's the problem, is that there's people that you agree with who other people think the same thing about them. So, like, if you want to take away somebody else's rights and, like, freedom of expression to be able to say what they think and express themselves and have the opinions that they have, the only thing you have to do for that same thing to be used against you is to wait. Because eventually things are going to change. Eventually those people will have the power and you won't have the power, and then they're going to take it away from you, and they're going to be a lot more vindictive about it because you tried to do the same thing to them. I think this is a bad idea. We shouldn't even go down that road to begin with. I think it's a very simple line you should not cross. And so, reminds me of extreme feminism, blue hair, crazy ladies, same. Yeah, I think that makes sense, sure. In general, I do agree with that. But I don't think that crazy feminist ladies should get banned off of Twitter. I just disagree with them. And I think people can dunk on them the same way they dunk on Andrew Tate for complaining about people walking around with a water bottle. It's fucking ridiculous. But that's the kind of shit this guy says. And that's why he's popular, of course. And people love that. But I think that being outrageous and being stupid and saying things that are dumb or disagreeable, it should not necessarily be a deplatforming thing. Actions has consequences. You should know rules, not break them. It's on him. Well, I don't agree. Well, obviously actions do have consequences, but you could apply that same logic. So I understand, and we've talked about this before, but I'll mention it again. The idea that freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences is completely fucking wrong. Freedom of speech is fundamentally freedom from consequences. It's like in North Korea, you can say whatever you want, it's just the consequence afterwards is they put you in front of a firing squad. Yeah, you've got freedom of speech. You just lose your life if you say this. So I think it's an outrageous thing that you're saying that, like, oh, this is the same thing. No, it's not. Listen, I understand what you're saying, and of course companies should have some degree of control of things, exactly. But whenever you're talking about banning people with a large public profile like this, I consider it problematic, and I consider it dangerous. I do. And not the fact that it's being done, but the fact that there's no oversight for it, and there's no accountability. I think that's very bad. Freedom of speech doesn't exist within private companies. Facebook was owned by the government, then you have freedom of speech. Facebook was owned by the government, was dumpster fire. Well, freedom of speech doesn't exist with private companies. How would you feel, like, so, like, for example, like, let's say AT&T is the only, AT&T is the only internet provider in your area, or Time Warner Cable, or Spectrum, or like Google, fucking Google Fiber. Like, let's say you only have one of these in the area, and they decide that if you go to certain furry porn websites, you automatically lose your internet. They will take your internet away from you, and they will deny you service. Do you think they should be able to do that? I think no. I would rather have people yiffing than have people kicked off the internet. And I understand I picked a very bad example to make this example. This is about ISPs, though. It's about denial of to shit social media platform that's cancer. Well, I think that it's fundamentally the same thing, right? Am I crazy? I think these are the same things. Yes, because you agreed to sign up to their service. No, I disagree with that. I don't care what the contract is. If the contract is exploitative towards the person, again, a public company needs to operate in the best interest of the public. And if a public company is not operating in the best interest of the public, then that needs to be changed. That's all there is to it. You're talking about net neutrality shouldn't exist. Very dangerous. People fail to realize that when something like this happens to them, they defend themselves. No, you allow it. Yeah, you don't let stuff like this happen. And but the furry example was something. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Honestly, they're acting in the best interest of the public by banning Tate. No, and again, I think that's why I don't know whether it was the right decision or not. So, like, I'll give, like, my verdict on this, right? I don't know if it was the right decision to ban Andrew Tate or not, because to be honest with you, I haven't really looked at a lot of his content. I keep getting recommended, like, YouTube shorts of this guy. I've watched, like, maybe a dozen of them. I don't know about, like, all of this, like, human trafficking, like, abuse stuff. Like, I have no fucking idea. And so I don't have enough information to make a deterministic, like, decision, was this a good idea or not? But I'm saying categorically, I think that it's a bad idea for people to be removed off social media platforms entirely whenever they did not break the law. You see what I'm saying? Public companies have to work in the best interest of the public. What for? We live in capitalism, so obviously they work for what's best for the company. Well, we don't really live in capitalism. Like, there's no place in the world where there's actual, like, there's, like, every economic system exists not as in, like, as, like, this fucking, like, what's the way to say it? None of them exist exclusively as capitalism or socialism. They are always a mix of the two. America is the same way, Norway is the same way, different percentage, same situation. You see what I'm saying? People actually think we're in a free market are dumb. Yes, exactly. And you live in a corporate oligarchy of a country, my guy. Corporations going to do what they're going to do. Well, I mean, I agree with you. I think that's very bad too, but I don't think that's the way that it should be. I'm giving my opinion on the way that I think that it should be and what I think is the right thing. I know that that's not how it is. I'm fully aware of that. Trust me. But this is just what I think. Banning of the options. What are the consequences they should face for their socially unacceptable... what's this here? Shit, let me read this. Socially unacceptable opinions and things like that. Socially unacceptable behavior, because there needs to be consequences or people like this will become more radical. Well, like, so here's the thing. Who are you to impose a consequence on another human being? Who are you to take this and impose a consequence on another person? You're not God. What is the consequence? Well, maybe because you don't like it. Yeah, you don't like it. You don't get to just decide this collectively that, oh, well, enough people dislike this, well, then it gets to be removed. I mean, I feel like this has happened in culture many times, and it's been bad pretty much every single time. I think this is ridiculous. Yeah, I completely disagree with that. Were you to say that I can't decide that? Well, I think that we've all collectively decided that you can't let individual people make decisions for other people with no accountability. This is obviously a bad idea. Like, society would not function if everybody got to punish everybody else in the way that they felt fit. Like, society could not function this way. It's impossible. Yeah, Facebook is an individual. Well, I mean, Citizens United. However, I understand that, but they are a public company, so I think the same thing applies in a different way. Yeah, sure. And so, yeah, what's this here? Was he talking about present? Well, what do you mean about that? Society isn't functioning well right now. But what I'm saying is that, like, everything that you consider socially unacceptable, somebody else doesn't consider socially unacceptable. So I think that people in general and society in general has agreed that you can do what is socially unacceptable to the extent that it does not harm other people. I don't know. I think that's like generally the unspoken rule, and that's kind of like what the laws pretty much imply, right? I mean, shit. I think that's obvious. Yeah, of course. Fair take, exactly. And would it matter if there were enough same-size social media platforms? No, I don't think it would matter as much. But I think that it would matter if they were acting collectively. Yeah, so it like yes and no. Everything socially acceptable that's worthy of censorship, banning is legal. Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah, anything that's like so socially unacceptable that it would fall under that is probably already illegal. That's a very good point. I didn't think of that. Wouldn't that support his ban as radical opinions harmed youth and led followers to breaking laws? Well, if you can draw a correlation to that, then why isn't he in jail? Yeah, if that's true, then why isn't he in jail? So I think that, like, again, if you can draw a connection between a person's actions and what somebody is, like, saying. So, like, for example, if somebody posts somebody else's address, and it's like some famous person, they post a person's address, and they say, go burn this person's house down, and then the person's house gets burnt down, I think you can pretty well assume that the person burnt the house down because of what that famous person posted their address, right? Like, you can clearly draw, like, a 1-2 comparison. So, yeah, I think everybody would agree, like, yeah, of course that guy's a piece of shit. Of course he should go to jail, right? But it's more complicated than that in like 99.9% of circumstances. But who do you blame? Well, who says only one person's to blame? You put both of them in jail, in my opinion. Yeah, take the people that smoke weed out of jail and put those people in there instead. If you don't know the history of this person, a good idea to argue in favor of him? I'm not. If you think that I'm arguing in favor of him, you're not even listening to what I'm saying. Yeah, you're not even listening. Like, I never said that. The person exposing address, person decided to ask for, yeah, obviously, it's just common sense. Yeah, I'm not defending this guy at all. I'm saying that I worry about people being deplatformed on a massive level, and that the power that these companies have that is not in any way counterbalanced by a government regulatory authority. I think this is really bad. I do. I think it's really, really bad. And I think that it will only get worse. So yeah, I can say that and simultaneously say that I don't necessarily agree or disagree with him getting removed. Does that make sense? What about cancel culture? Same thing, you cannot regulate it? I don't know where that's coming from. Government can't force the platform to keep someone on their platform? Come on now. Well, of course they can. Absolutely they can. What do you mean? They're the fucking government. Like, that's not, yeah, what do you mean? Obviously. Yeah, let's see here. I mean, again, that's basically what I think about him getting banned. It's not really anything else beyond that. It worries me about that kind of stuff. I'll read some of the opinions on it, and then we'll kind of move on. These are some opinions on Twitter about the situation, and we'll go from there. And don't listen to this guy on governance. Well, why? Because what, are you afraid of him hearing? You afraid of people hearing too much shit that's true? Is that it? Yeah, I'm right. Like, I don't see how people can say that I'm wrong about this whenever you have hundreds of years of precedent of the same thing happening. It's like somehow this time it's different. No, it's not. It's the same thing. It's happened 10 times, 20 times before then. Only morons are disagreeing. Yeah, it's like, read a fucking history book. This has happened many, many times. People who are comfortable with censorship, don't know history, have lived a blissful life. It's not about censorship. It's about people having accountability. I think that accountability is very important. Exactly. Does this mean all platforms of him on those videos got to be taken off? Realistically, that won't happen. Alex Jones is banned on Twitter, but he's on Twitter all the time. So I don't think that's the case. And so, yeah, right, if you looked at Tate, you'd see why he was taken down. He's committing crimes using social media. Oh. Okay. Okay, well, if I looked at everything and I came to that conclusion, that I would agree with him being removed. I would agree with him being removed. You see what I'm saying? Like, I have no problem saying that. Yeah, I have literally no problem saying that that's the case. I think Andrew Tate is an asshole. I do. Like, I think that, yes, there are some things that he says that I think do have validity and truth in them. But it's, in my opinion, like, probably 50-50. And I think that the stuff that he says regarding women is, like, 100% wrong. And the fact is that saying stuff that affects other people and how to treat other people is much more important than how to live your own life. Because that hurts other people. Like, you're also an asshole, let's be real. It takes one to know one. And so, yeah, a company can just move to another country with their servers. USA government can't do shit. The USA government can't do shit. You are crazy. You are actually crazy if you think that there is not a way to deal with this. Like, who said that? Like, it's just, again, it is so easy to deal with this stuff. It's simple. They just don't do it. They can do it easily, man. Doesn't think what, I think he probably doesn't, even believe what he says. It's all an act. Oh, I don't know about it being an act. I don't think that it's an act. I have a feeling that it's not an act. So let's see here. I've said so many people were defending Andrew Tate, saying you shouldn't be deplatformed. Same people would defend a Nazi calling for violence. Somehow that's okay against women. He says women should be owned, controlled, and deserve rape. It's calling for violence. I've never seen about deserve rape. That's a lot. I think the first two, it's like, yeah, I think you can pretty much draw that conclusion. Absolutely, sure. Deserving rape is a bit much. The Nazi card. Well, what I'm saying is, like, everybody would be on the same page of deplatforming somebody because they're advocating violence. It's not because they're a Nazi, it's because they're advocating violence. That's the thing that's important, because that's what's against the law. He said women should take accountability for their assault. I don't know. I didn't read what he said. Let's see here. This is just some bullshit. Hassan, Andrew Tate obviously didn't invent misogyny, had no issue becoming its online face as he skyrocketed to fame over the last few months. Of course, social media platforms going to use an example to act like they're doing something even though they directly contribute to the problem. Exactly. Oh, why do we keep seeing so much Andrew Tate nowadays? Well, I don't know. Maybe because the social media algorithm did that. Yeah, social media can say, no, Hassan is right. Hassan's completely right. Like, the social media platforms, for how much they hate the fucking guy, you'd think he was their best friend for how much they were promoting him. And I understand that this is something that's happening. It's not like they're clicking the button to, like, show more Andrew Tate, show more Andrew Tate. They're not doing this willingly. But the systems that they have, I think that social media algorithms are designed to radicalize people. They are designed and programmed. It's in their DNA to radicalize people and to show people things that they get angry about, because people are more likely to respond to things that they get angry about, and the social media algorithms reward people with responding to something with more things like that. And so if you're responding to things that are making you angry, you're just going to be posted with more things that make you angry. You think that's known. Exactly. And so it's common sense. I agree with what he's saying here completely. I'm very glad to see more of this, and hopefully we see more people talking about this. So anyway, let's look over here. Ban educated is done. Ideas should be challenged. If he spreads misinformation, it should be countered in the public sphere. Yes, I also agree with this. Again, I agree if he did not break the law. If it is proven that he's broken the law using the platform, then I think obviously he should be deplatformed. Of course. Yeah, it's common sense. Just remember, most people disagreeing do not know a world where social media didn't exist. Well, I mean, who cares what happened 20 years ago? This is what happened now. Like, this is what's going on now. So I make an income on TikTok. I get way more views whenever I post something controversial. Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't? Andrew Tate, people have a shit ton of incentives to keep posting about him now. I guess you're on point with that, but I also think his followers mass posts on every single platform. Andrew Tate has a lot of people that are massive simps for him. I think that it's ironic whenever people like Andrew Tate complain about guys simping for girls online, but I've seen more guys simping for Andrew Tate than any girl on OnlyFans. Now, I think there's a lot of growing resentment that guys have, and this is just the truth. There's a lot of growing resentment that I think especially young guys, I'm talking like 14 to like 27, these guys around this age, that's the time that they see girls that they know getting massive advantages because they're attractive and this guy isn't getting anything. They see, you know, some girl turns 18 and she makes $100,000 on OnlyFans. He turns 18 and his dad tells him he's got to get a job at Target. So yeah, I can see why a lot of guys are angry at women. I understand where the anger is coming from. I don't agree. I think it's stupid, personally, because it's like there are a million other things that you're not doing. You're not successful. You're not trying to be successful. You're sitting at home watching anime and jerking off all day. I mean, like, I'm not gonna feel bad that, like, the world's out to get you. Like, I mean, you're getting yourself as well. So yeah, women, one time women get a leg out, let's beat them down. Well, I think that people just, people are not thinking about, like, whenever you explain to an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old guy, nobody cares about what happened 100 years ago. Their life does not revolve around what happened 100 years ago. Everybody that was involved with that is dead. This is not their life. So you cannot give somebody some sort of historical context behind something and then tell them that's why their feelings are wrong. It's outrageous. You're not seeing things from their perspective. Breakdown goes like this. Girls turn 18 and start selling their bodies. Guys sell drugs or take up crime. Two sides to each story. Yeah, but the difference is that crime is against the law and OnlyFans is not. Obviously, the solution is make OnlyFans against the law, right? Of course. And so, listen, what I'm really trying to say here is that I think that's why there are so many guys that like somebody like Andrew Tate. And I actually think that the rise of Andrew Tate and people like him is actually kind of a sad thing. And it's not sad because the opinions are popular, but it's sad because of why the opinions are popular. I think the reason why the opinions are popular and why people like him are popular is that young guys, again, usually don't have a lot of direction. They might not have a strong father figure in their life. They might not have that older brother that sets them straight. Andrew Tate very, very well fills in the role of your older brother who hits you with the reality check whenever you tell him that you're gonna fucking date this girl that's super hot in Canada, but her dad doesn't let her use the mic. Andrew Tate comes in and he fucking says, snap back to reality. Nope, you're talking to a guy. You see what I'm saying? It's very specific. Yes, of course. And so all I'm really getting at is, like, there's very, very, very clear, like, value in that for a lot of guys. And I think that the reason it's valuable is because they're not getting that in their real life. Like, fundamentally, they're not getting that in their real life. And also, you know, guys, it's like you look at the numbers, right? There's, like, graphs that show this, etc. I've shown the graph before. You know, a lot of guys don't have girlfriends. And, like, the amount of guys with girlfriends that are hooking up with girls, it's gone way down. Way, 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 way fucking down. And guess what? Guys don't like that. Yeah, they don't like that one bit. And so, you know what? They're gonna upvote Andrew Tate. Yeah, that's it. I have no girlfriends. We're in the dumps. Yeah, Cody knows. Well, me and Cody, the thing is, me and Cody, we used to literally have a copy-paste message that we would just send to girls. Hey, you're really cute. Would you like to talk? Hey, you're really cute. Do you have any other pictures of yourself? Over. And you know what? Hey, whenever you're fishing with a grenade, eventually you might get a few fish. It's crazy. I'm surprised that it worked too. I'm still surprised. Spam message it. Yeah, exactly. Why not? Just add them on. Yep. Why not? Let's see what happens. Yeah, it worked. It did. It worked. No, not only did it worked a surprisingly large amount of times. I still can't believe it. Well, anyway, so what I'm saying here is that, what do you call it? Average mother and one child, while the average father is two. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not going to get into a whole lot of that. I don't know. I'm just talking about another graph. But what I'm really trying to get at here is that a lot of guys, they see someone like Andrew Tate, and they like what he's saying because it resonates with their current life situation. Like, he tells them he's the guy that tells somebody who's been jerking off to fucking anime, sitting there playing video games 12 hours a day. Actually, you are a loser, but it's also women's fault. It's women, it's society. And I think that, yes, you do have some degree of positive action. Again, about working out, being healthy, trying to take things into your own hands, etc. But also, I think that people are looking for somebody to blame. They're looking for somebody to blame, and that is such a... It's such an alluring idea that you can find somebody else whose fault it is for everything that you've done wrong. I don't think anyone takes them seriously besides you Twitch streamers. Really? You don't think other people don't take him seriously? Then why do people give him a bunch of money? Why does he make a bunch of... how does he get people signing up for Hustlers University? Well, it's because they do. Yeah, that's why. I don't know if I agree with what Andrew said was misinformation. Extremely common knowledge that it's illegal to beat a woman. Other things you said... Sorry, Mudar's popping out. Oh, yeah. Let me see here. Andrew Tate makes so much sense. Man, what the... Why the... What's wrong with that? He's just chilling. He's just living his life. What's wrong with that? Oh my god. You cannot agree with Andrew Tate, but just banning him on stuff and saying you can't have freedom of speech, lol. Yeah, I think that's important. LGBT is going to indoctrinate kids. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate got them, palm in his hand, molding him to be a piece of shit. Oh my god. Let's see here. People are freaking out about young boys looking up to Andrew Tate, but totally fine with young girls looking up to Cardi B and the Kardashians. That is fair. That is very fair. That's true. Yeah, exactly. I don't know about banning. I was not saying I would deem hateful enough to warrant a ban. I cannot issue a I have not seen everything that he's done. I have not seen every single thing that he has done, so I cannot make that decision. But yes, Cardi B and the Kardashians don't incite violence, and that's what then they don't break the law with the platform. Right. So again, that's the way I feel about the Andrew Tate thing. I know a lot of people have asked me about this. A lot of people have had very strong opinions about this. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll read a few comments and then we're gonna watch something else, okay? Comparing Cardi B and Andrew Tate to Cardi B as a Tate take. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, what he is saying is that the Kardashians and people like Cardi B and like, you know, like a lot of popular music reinforces things that are bad. It does. It reinforces things that are bad. Straight up, it's that simple. I don't think that this is an unreasonable thing to say. It's common sense. Cardi B drug men took their money, KW. I don't know if that happened or not. Like, I have no idea. Like, I'm not going to, again, and also, like, let's say it did happen. Do you understand the difference between somebody committing a crime and somebody using Twitter to commit a crime? So, like, O.J. Simpson, I think he should be able to have a Twitter account. If he starts messaging people some weird stuff, then we have a situation. So using it to commit a crime is very different than having committed a crime in the past and using it in the current while you are not committing any crimes and not doing anything wrong. I think this is common sense. Yeah, it's completely common sense. Tate's literally under investigation for sex trafficking, a crime. Oh, really? So now we should have every single person who's under investigation assumed to be guilty. Well, then why is there an investigation? Have we lost our minds? Yeah, come on, let's think about that. It's not under investigation. Charges were dropped due to the fact that the chick was lying. I don't know. All I'm saying is I think that's what the stuff is. Let's see here. I'll read some more and then I want to move on. And Cardi B writes music according to how the public consumes it. If she wrote some wholesome crap, literally no one would listen to it. She stated that she writes what the public wants. Kind of their fault more than hers. She's trying to make money. I don't think that because there's an audience for something, I do it, is a very strong argument for allowing something to occur. I think you can think of many examples that, well, there are people that like this, so I do it. Yes, but it's still bad. Just think about it for 5 seconds.